Hey guys, Miss Caulfield here. Today's lesson is, so we're obviously in our imperialism unit, but during this imperialism unit, we're going to be looking at some political cartoons. But being able to read and understand a political cartoon is actually a skill because there are lots of different techniques that people use when they make political cartoons, and it's important that you understand what those techniques are and how they're used to make a political cartoon. So today's lesson is a step back from imperialism and a little mini lesson on political cartoons. You will be filling out this packet, which you'll be able to find in Canvas. And this video is just to walk through the packet with you to help you explain, and to help you really see these techniques. So first, a political cartoon is a cartoon that makes a point about a political idea or event. Political cartoonists use a variety of tools to get across their argument. A person must understand these tools in order to understand the argument of the political cartoon. They are often meant to be funny, outrageous, and sometimes insulting. Therefore, we have to be extremely mature and academic when we're analyzing the political cartoons. It might be something funny or outrageous. That doesn't mean that the message of the political cartoon is funny or outrageous, and we are looking to understand the message. We must attempt to understand why artists make the decisions they make and not view these cartoons at surface level. So the first technique that political cartoonists make are visual symbols and metaphors. Visual symbols, metaphors, and labels. A visual symbol in a cartoon is an image that stands for some other thing, event, person, abstract idea, or trend in the news. For example, a dollar sign may stand for an entire economy, right? It's just a dollar sign, but it's a symbol for an economy. An octopus may stand for an entire corporation. Metaphors are like symbols in that they describe one thing as something else entirely. Begin cartoon analysis with identifying and explaining any symbols or metaphors. In addition, pay attention to any labeling or subtitle in the cartoon. So here we have a cartoon. This guy, he has this big ball and chain that is labeled, right? So they're using the technique of labeling, right? And this big ball and chain is going to be a symbol for something. And it says, going someplace warm for spring break? And he says, yeah, I was just hoping this thing doesn't give me tan lines. Ha ha ha, right? But this actually has a meaning about student loan debt, the impact on people. So go ahead and pause the video and answer these questions. Okay, the next technique, I'm just seeing all these typos. The next technique that cartoonists use is visual distortion. So this is a change or exaggeration in the size, shape, emotions, or gestures, often add meaning to symbols, okay? So something might be a symbol, like this ball and chain being a symbol for student loan debt, but it's also visually large, right? Meaning it's a big student loan debt. And so this right here, that's when they're using visual distortion. For example, a dragon is often a symbol for China, but a huge snorting dragon will make a different point about China from a tired, limp, meek dragon. We see the same thing in this example down here. Okay, here we have President Obama this was an old political cartoon, and here we have the elephant. Elephants are often a symbol for Republicans, the Republican political party. We have an elephant in this political cartoon, and we have an elephant in this political cartoon. But as you notice, there are two very different elephants here, right? We have a strong, powerful, in charge, throwing the bow, elbow elephant here, and then over here we have a crazed, unkempt, fat elephant over here, right? And so we are getting two different messages about the Republican political party from these two different political cartoons using the same symbol, but visually distorted in a way that is giving us two different things. So go ahead and pause the video and answer these questions down here. All right, so the next tool that political cartoonists use is irony in words and images. Irony is a form of humor in which something is said in a way that undercuts or mocks its own apparent meaning. In other words, what is said seems to mean one thing, but it will be taken to mean the opposite. Irony is well suited for political cartoons, excuse me, which often seem to mock something and show how false, unfair, or dangerous it is. So if we scroll down, here is a political cartoon. You guys may not know who these people are, but I'll explain it to you. Sarah Palin ran for vice president many years ago, and she was obviously a big proponent for no condoms in school, no sex education, abstinence only. She was on that side of the sex education argument. Ironically, her daughter got pregnant as a teenager, okay? So this political cartoon uses irony, right, to say, okay, this is what she stands for. However, her own child got pregnant as a teenager. So it's kind of using irony to say, there is something disconnected here between what you are selling and your own personal life. And so this is how irony can be used in political cartoons. So go ahead and answer this question. I feel like I have to sneeze. Maybe I'll be okay. The next tool that political cartoonists use are stereotypes and caricatures. A stereotype is a vastly oversimplified view of a group. They are often insulting. They give cartoonists a shorthand way to make a complex point quickly. They also reveal broad cultural attitudes. But keep in mind, right, that part of this exercise, and the reason we're doing this is because a lot of times stereotypes can be insulting, they can be racist, right? That doesn't mean when I give you a political cartoon, right, that may have a stereotype that's insulting or racist, that doesn't mean I want you to believe in that stereotype because it's insulting and racist. I want you to recognize that the political cartoonist is using a stereotype to make a bigger point. And we're trying to figure out what that bigger point is, okay? Same thing with caricatures. Caricature is an opposite of a stereotype. It is an exaggerated or distorted drawing of an individual highlighting what the artist sees as most unique about that individual. You should be critical of cartoon stereotyping, yet also notice how it contributes to making a point more dramatic and forceful. When analyzing cartoons, identify any stereotypes and characters and consider what they communicate. So this first one over here is using caricatures, right? We know this is Donald Trump. All of his features, right, that the public kind of talks about are exaggerated. We also know that this is Paul Ryan, right, because all of his features are exaggerated. So a lot of times caricatures are used so that we, as the reader of this political cartoon, instantly know who the people are. Over here we have a stereotype, right? They're using the stereotype of the welfare queen, right, which is a woman who, survives on welfare. It's a little difficult to see, but like she is a black woman, as we can tell from her hair. This is a stereotype. It's a racist stereotype. It's not true, but it allows the political cartoonist to make a point, right, that the bigger argument, right, is that with Democrats in power, welfare is going to get big and these people are going to misuse the money and buy 2 cars. Okay? It's using a racist stereotype, not because the racist stereotype is true, but because we as a reader will see it and understand what they're talking about. Okay? So go ahead and answer these questions. And then another really key component of political cartoons is that they are arguments, right? In their foundational level, a political cartoonist is using a drawing to try and make an argument about something going on politically, in society, economically, whatever it is. Slogans merely assert something. A good political cartoon is more than a slogan. Though blunt and oftentimes very opinionated, it invites you to consider an argument. At its best, a cartoon offers a visual representation of an argument, okay? It presents its point of view and its reasons. They are often extremely biased, but there are still grounds and room for responding or even arguing back. So these two are down here are political cartoons regarding gun control. Okay, this one is anti-gun control, right? Because it's saying if you take away our guns, criminals are still going to have guns and we're going to have nothing to protect ourselves. Okay, you see that. That's a full argument, right? It's anti-gun control because how are we going to protect ourselves? Okay, so we see the argument and the reasons. Over here, this is pro-gun control, right? Because there's a gun, but it's shooting back at people, right? It says we need more guns to protect us from rising gun violence. So basically saying if we continue with the way we're at and we don't have stronger gun control, there will be more guns in society and basically more gun violence in society. So we see its argument and its reasons, okay? And that's really what political cartoons are doing. So go ahead and answer that question. Pause. The last point I wanted to make was political cartoons may be funny, outrageous, even insulting. Yet above all, their aim is to provoke thought about some issue in the news. They cannot be taken as simple reflections of the way things are, yet that is common misuse of them. They reveal cultural assumptions, prevailing moods, even real insights about events and trends. They can be used as evidence of all of these things. Okay, go ahead and go back to the Canvas module page to see what you're supposed to do next.